Right, good morning, welcome back. Now moving forward with the paint project on the Heritage Softail, we're going to start with the mud guards. These are absolutely dreadful. Now there's no way you could feather back the edges where it's rusted off and just put some primer on and repaint. Absolutely not, that's nonsense. They've got to be stripped right back to bare metal, not just outside but inside as well. So we've got a messy old day ahead. Let's make a start. Right, now with these mud guards, I want to take the paint off using a paint stripper rather than grinding it off in the method I've done in the past, because it's a lot more peaceful and a lot less messy. I don't want to cover everything in here in dust. So to do that, I'm not just going to pour the paint stripper straight on the surface. Instead, a little tip that I picked up from a professional that I know is scuff up the surface first with an 80 grit. Actually bite into the surface and tear it open. That gives the paint stripper a chance to get in and do its work. And it's far more productive in terms of stripping the paint if you scuff it up first. After an hour and a half of leaving this stuff to work, it hasn't. It's an absolute monumental fail. It's not even softening the surface of the paint so you can start scraping it. Absolutely zero effect. Now this is a commercial paint stripper, not an industrial one. It's not easy to get your hands on that stuff. And even the old famous Nitromors these days, honestly, it's useless. So I have another option, something that I definitely know will work first time. Right, now fortunately, I've got a neighbour a couple of units down who is a metal fabricator. Now he makes things like fire escapes and metal railings and garden ornaments and whatnot. And everything he makes is from heavyweight raw iron and steel. And most of that steel comes into him in a rusty old state. So he's got a shipping container just out the back here that's completely sealed and has dust extraction. And he uses that for cleaning off all the metal that he uses to make the wonderful things he does. Now I just had a quick word with him and he said, no problem, just wipe all that stuff off them, take them in the container, shut the doors and clean and strip them all off with a disc. And he uses big 8-inch industrial discs that will clean all this off in no time. And the great thing is I'm not filling this place up with dust or the environment outside. So let's get all this wiped off and go and get them done. Right, that's them cleaned off. Now, sadly I can't film this because in the container it's a dark, dingy, hostile atmosphere and I don't want to trash my camera. So, here we go, take two. Let's see if this works. There, 2.5 hours later, shiny bare steel and absolutely chuffed with the results. It's a 3-stage process. Use these big 8-inch industrial flap discs. You start off with a 180, that takes the basic coat of paint off, that just breaks it all down so there's just a primer left. Then a 320 disc, that makes it nice and smooth, takes out all the scratch marks that the 180 left. Then you go over to a Scotch disc. So it's a flap disc basically made of bits of Scotch-Brite, quite coarse, but it's enough to take everything off down to a shiny steel finish, but leave enough of an etch for the 2-pack sealer to grip hold of, which is what comes next. Well, next, that is after the welding repairs. And those repairs basically are welding up holes that I don't need. I'm going to eliminate all the chrome off these mudguards. They're going to be completely sleek and in single colour. So for instance, all this chrome trim that goes around the front of the front fender, all these holes, there's about a dozen of them, going to weld all those up and then fill them over so they're not there at all. Same goes for here on the back of the rear fender. You've got this big old piece of plastic door knocker furniture that fits on the back there. That's being eliminated. I'm getting rid of that. And all that there, these little holes that are normally for wiring and whatnot, for a light, if you want to put a light in there, they're just going to be welded up, little plate on the inside, and then shave over the top, nice and smooth, sand it round, and then just paint over so there's nothing there at all. So they're not repairs to damage as such, they're just holes welded up that I don't need in the future. Now, one final question, and I think it's one we've all asked ourselves at one point or another. Why is it that modern, commercially available paint stripper is so utterly useless and ineffective? You saw that earlier on. I may as well have tried to use bad language to get the paint off for all the good it did. It was utterly pointless waste of time. So what's happened to paint stripper? What went wrong? Why does it no longer blister up the paint while you're looking at it and just wipe off? And a short chat with my friend in the paint shop revealed the possible answer. The once upon a time vicious chemicals that used to live in paint stripper that got the paint off in seconds, that stuff's no longer legally available to you and me. The common man cannot possess those chemicals. You need a license to possess them, a reason to use them, certificates for the storage of them, and you're not allowed to pass them on to the public in a product. That product being paint stripper, so therefore you can no longer buy paint stripper that actually works. So in a nutshell, it's the nanny state. They won't let you and I have anything dangerous lest we hurt ourselves. So there we are, we're left with abrasives, and I'm not unhappy with that because look at the fabulous finish it's made. So join us for the next one. We'll start welding up all these unnecessary holes, get them ready for the paint shop, and 4 coats of 2K sealer.